Now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is in London meeting with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The two leaders met at 10 Downing Street, sharing a warm embrace before starting their talks. It was a much lighter mood than yesterday's meeting between the Ukrainian leader and US President Donald Trump.
Now, a heated discussion had erupted in the Oval Office when Mr. Zelenskyy was rebuked for being disrespectful and that he was gambling with World War III. The Ukrainian leader is now turning to his European allies, with the UK doubling down on its support for the warring country.
You're very, very welcome here in Downing Street. As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you've heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine, and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace.
Thank you very much, Keir, Mr. Prime Minister, having me here. And really, I saw a lot of people, and I want to thank you, people of the United Kingdom, such big support from the very beginning of this war. Thank you, your team. And I'm very happy that His Majesty the King accepted my meeting tomorrow, and I'm thankful that you organized such a great summit for tomorrow. And we are very happy in Ukraine that we have such strategic partners. We signed with you historic documents.
100-year agreement.
Yeah, we have only with you such documents with the United Kingdom, so we're happy, and we count on your support, and really, we're really happy that we have such partners and such friends.
A very different scene there in 10 Downing Street compared to yesterday's scenes out of the Oval Office. Our Europe Bureau Chief, Zoe Ford, has more now from London.
Well, the optics couldn't be more different, could they, from that meeting in Washington, D.C. Firstly, let's look at the arrival, because we saw dozens of people out the front of number 10 Downing Street, out the front of the gates, cheering Volodymyr Zelenskyy as he arrived with his motorcade, holding placards up with messages of support. Then, as he drove up to the door, Sir Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, was there to greet him, first with a handshake and then with a warm hug. The pair smiling at one another, then posing for the cameras some more before going inside number 10 Downing Street. And you could also see Sir Keir Starmer pointing towards the road where all of the supporters were. You could hear the cheers from the road as the two leaders met.
It really was a very warm welcome. What do we know about the meeting inside, which was then held?
Well, we were able to see the very beginning of that meeting because cameras were allowed in for the very start. That's normally the convention. It was quite extraordinary that in Washington the cameras were allowed in for as long as they were. But certainly at this meeting here in London, we saw Keir Starmer and Volodymyr Zelenskyy having a very warm conversation. Sir Keir Starmer said that he very much welcomed the Ukrainian leader to Downing Street. He said, "We stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it takes." And Mr. Zelenskyy, in return, thanked the UK and the UK people for their support. So a very warm relationship between those two there. Behind closed doors, we don't yet know what was said. We're awaiting what they call a readout from that meeting. But you would expect that Sir Keir Starmer would have doubled down on his support for Ukraine with military aid, with humanitarian aid there. And he would have also spoken about his desire to have European countries come together to do more to help Ukraine.
And earlier, when President Zelenskyy touched down on UK soil, he sent a flurry of social media posts. What did they say?
Yes, it was almost as though he had some time to reflect on that flight from Washington DC across to London, because the timing of those tweets being posted, a thread of them on the social media platform X, suggested they were posted just as he landed, but they really did have a very grateful tone. He said, "We're very grateful to the US for all the support. The American people have helped save our people, and we are very thankful for that." He said it was crucial for the US for the Ukraine to have President Trump's support. He says, though, he wants the US to stand more firmly with Ukraine. He said it was understandable that the US would look to have a dialogue with Russia, but we must take steps against Vladimir Putin. So, yes, grateful and offering his thanks to President Trump after those comments in Washington, D.C. that perhaps Zelensky was ungrateful, but also standing firm that in his position that Ukraine needed the support of the United States of America and would continue to seek that.
So what's next for President Zelensky's UK visit then?
Well, the UK government has requested that the President of Ukraine meets tomorrow morning with King Charles here in London, and that has been granted by Buckingham Palace, so the pair will meet in the morning. But the meeting to watch tomorrow really is this European summit that has been convened by Sir Keir Starmer, a summit of European leaders here in London. We're expecting the French President Emmanuel Macron, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, the Polish President Donald Tusk, the outgoing German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, as well as the NATO Chief Mark Rutte and the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, among others. There's also something that's been written in the Canadian press that Justin Trudeau is coming across from Canada to join the European leaders for this meeting as well. This meeting was always going to be held on Sunday in the UK, but it was meant to be held after the Ukrainian leaders signed a minerals deal with the United States. That, of course, didn't happen after that extraordinary exchange in the Oval Office on Friday. So all of these leaders will be gathering anyway, no doubt discussing what went down in Washington, what that means for the Europe, Ukraine and US relationship as a result, what they can do to help strengthen Ukraine now, and any steps to take for a lasting peace, of course, because that is the ultimate goal of all of these leaders coming together as they want to help Ukraine achieve peace. Now, what does Russia make of all of this? Well, we haven't heard a word from Vladimir Putin at this stage, but he would have no doubt watched the entirety of that Oval Office exchange with deep interest. We've heard from his foreign minister, who's described it as, she said it was a diplomatic disaster for Kyiv, and Russian state television is describing it as a diplomatic train wreck.
Zoe Ford there. Now, on the ground in Ukraine, officials say 6 people were killed in Russian strikes, mostly in the eastern Donetsk region. Authorities in the city of Kharkiv say the missiles had hit several buildings, including a medical facility, injuring 7 people. Russia has denied targeting civilians.